AdaBox 13 Monster Mask. This Halloween, you will be the spookiest in town, thanks to AdaBox 13. Cat eyes or monster peepers? The Monster Mask board included in this box can be customized with different eyeball and sound effects to bring your costume or cosplay to life. You can wear the mask as a set of goggles, or break it apart to have two independent eyes. Pair it with one of the blank masks included for you to decorate, or perhaps outfit a ghost, skeleton, or pumpkin decoration. Thanks to the generous sponsorship and support from DigiKey, this box is chock full of creative joy. And while this was a scary AdaBox to work on, we didn't have to fear running out of electronic components or not getting them in time. AdaBox 13 Monster Mask.
Welcome to the AdaBox 13 unboxing. I'm John Park. This is a really exciting lucky 13th AdaBox, and I hope if you're a subscriber, you've gotten your box in the mail, and you can join us while we go through and unbox this one. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe for AdaBox 14. It's going to be shipping sometime in November, so don't wait. Now, this AdaBox is all about the eyes, so stay tuned to have a look. It's time to take a look inside our box. This one is bulging with contents. You can see the inner box, at least on mine here, is just screaming to get out. Now, the first thing I'll do is pull off the slip cover, and you can see we have our very creepy and cool eyeball themed slide-in sheet. This will give you an idea of the contents and their descriptions, as well as a coupon code and some helpful links for when you get started. A little spooky. Ooh. We've got almost all the contents in this inner bag here, so I'm going to pull those out and set this aside. Now, this right here is the star of the show. This is the Monster Mask. I'm going to open this up and we'll have a look. The Monster Mask is a really cool set of eyes, and it's so much more. This is an ATSAMD 51 based microcontroller board that, as you can clearly see, has dual screens on it. These are these 240 by 240 TFT screens, and they're clear and crisp and beautiful and colorful and bright, and they make for some fantastic eyes. On top of that, we've also got 3 buttons up on the top that we can use for different selections and things inside of software. There is a microphone input here, and we also have a stereo audio output up here. So we can do things like voice changers, where you can have a microphone attached perhaps to your costume, running into the Monster Mask, doing voice changing in real time, and then out to an amplified speaker somewhere else on your costume. We also have JST connectors. There are 2 3-pin connectors and 1 4-pin stemma connector so that you can add other peripherals. And we also have LiPo battery charging right on board, so you can plug in a battery and be ready to go on the go. As well as a connection for a small speaker, so you can use a more discreet, subtle type of audio output rather than the full 3.5 millimeter stereo out. And we also have USB for data as well as battery charging built right on board with this little micro USB connector. Now, there's also a very special silk screen on the front here. Not only is it beautiful with this monstery, feathery looking, scaly, dragony, toothy artwork, but it's also got a boopable capacitive touch nose right here, and that can be used in software to do things such as get a reaction out of the eyes. So that is the Monster Mask. We're going to have a closer look at it running some eyes and other software, but for now, why don't we set that aside and then we'll take a look at some of the other contents of the AdaBox. Why don't we start with these? This is a set of our 40mm lenses used to magnify the screens on your Monster Mask. So these will set right on top of the two screens and give us a really nice magnifying effect for the eyes. And in order to hold them nicely to the board, we've got this great acrylic lens holder set. So these are clear acrylic, but right now they have a little protective paper coating on them so they don't get scratched up. I have a set here where I've already peeled off that paper so you can see what these look like. They're just perfectly clear acrylic. And we have a set of fasteners, so these are screws and nuts that can be used to attach the lens holders to the board, and then that will sandwich in these lenses. And there's also a little extra piece here which can be used for a little special feature that I haven't mentioned yet about the board, which is the center can actually be snipped away to separate this into two halves. And when you do that, you now get some flexibility for placement, depending on the mask you're trying to put this inside of, or another costuming need you might have, or a prop. Once those pieces are separated, in order to reconnect the two halves of the board, we have this little 9-pin JST-SH connector. So this will plug into these two ports here, and that will rejoin these electrically. Now you will lose the capacitive touch nose boop sensor ability from this, but it's a small price to pay, I think, for being able to flexibly arrange the eyes. Now, once you've separated the board into those two halves, if you do want to physically rejoin them, you can do so with this third piece of our lens holder set, and this will attach right onto those two mounting holes. We won't regain the little boop sensor, and we'll need to keep that wire there, but it is one way that you can recover that physical connection that we had between the two halves later. Now, another feature of these lens holders is they have little openings on the side for our elastic headband. So inside this little bag we have some 3/4 inch wide black elastic, which can be used as a headband or another type of attachment. And we have these little fasteners that are called tri-glide fasteners, and this will slip through here and back and allow you to tighten those through the two lens holders on either side, thus creating a proper mask. Now here's some other really cool goodies that we have. This is the PDM microphone. It's a little breakout board mic. Let me open up the plastic there and get it out. And this can be connected right to the board using the JST Stemma QT connector. So this will plug right into the PDM mic breakout board on one end, and it will plug into the Monster Mask on the other end, so that we can perhaps have a little discrete microphone to do a voice changer project inside of a helmet. What else have we got? Here is the smaller speaker that I mentioned, and this can either be stuck with the peel off and adhesive to the inside of the board, It plugs right into the speaker output that has a small amplifier on there. Or again, it could be arranged somewhere else inside of your costume, your helmet, your prop, your mask, and so on. We've also got a 420 milliamp hour LiPo battery that will plug right into the monster mask. And this also can be, as you'll see, it has a very short cable on it, so you can attach it right to the back of the board just using a little bit of double stick foam tape or some blue tack. Now, on top of all of these accessories for the board itself, we also have some artistic craft type of projects that are appropriate for the monster mask. We have this beautiful paint your own mask, and this can be painted up with these craft paints that we have. It also comes with a couple of brushes. And to get even fancier, we also have these glitter glues, so you can decorate your mask and perhaps place your monster mask on the inside of it to get a pretty cool eyeball effect later. Now, if you want to wear the mask, you can use some of these supplied elastics, these simpler, smaller elastics, and do a traditional behind-the-head mask type of approach. We also have a really cool, futuristic, reflective chrome mask. Now, this one comes with a couple of ribbon ties built onto it, so you can do this sort of thing and prepare to take over Earth. And you can also do things like incorporate the mask. One fun thing to do is to attach it to the front or even cut out holes so these eyes are visible through the top, and you can do a four-eyed type of monster situation. And I believe that's it. So that covers all of these great goodies that come in AdaBox 13 and help to support the central premise, which is the monster mask. I thought this would be a good time to take a look at powering up the board for the first time, as well as how to assemble the lens kit and put together some of the other accessories. So let's take the board and go ahead and plug in the battery. So this goes into the 2-pin connector like so, and then we have an on-off switch right here, which we can flip on. And what we're going to see at first is a boot up sequence that gives us a bunch of information about the health of the board, the storage space, the XYZ axes of the built-in accelerometer, the light sensor that's built on board, a power meter that reads out the level that the battery is at. We can also check the state of the 3 buttons. So it'll tell us when one of the buttons, the down button, the A button, and the up button are pressed. All right, so now let's go ahead and turn that back off. And since I have the battery plugged in, I'll go ahead and attach that to the back. I'm just going to use a little bit of double stick foam tape that I had already. And I'm just going to place this on the battery, press this against the back of the board. And so you can just gently bend the wires in here and get it right onto about the center of the board and press that down, and that'll just help that stay put and stop from dangling around in use. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is go ahead and place the lens kit and lenses on to the screens. I'm just going to make sure we have no big pieces of dust on there. And then we'll fit the 2 halves of the acrylic lens holders right over the board like this. And then we'll take 4 of these screws and 4 of these nuts. And then we're just going to go ahead and place those through a few of the holes. In fact, I'm going to do one of these at a time just so I can hold on to it. And so you can place one through there and then screw on a nut. Just a couple of turns is good. And then we'll go ahead and pick a different mounting hole. I'll use this upper left one here. And we can push that screw through there. You may find that there's a pretty snug fit. The foam tape that's on the back of the screens will compress a little bit as you screw these into place. And you can also hold that nut right there. Oh, it popped out. Yeah. I'll hold that nut right there and go ahead and use a screwdriver to turn that. Screw just a couple turns into the nut is enough, and that'll hold that in place nicely. So we'll go ahead and repeat that for the other side. You'll also notice there are some mounting holes that we're not using for the lenses. These can be used for attaching the monster mask to your costume. Okay, so now what we can do with the acrylic lens holders and lenses in place is create a little headband using our elastic and these tri-glides. So this is actually enough to wrap it around a very ginormous head. If you have that accessible and in mind, go ahead. I'm actually gonna grab some scissors so that I can trim that a little bit. And what you'll want is a little bit of excess to be able to fold it over on one end, and then it'll go around the back of your head or measure it to whatever you're connecting to, and then fold back again on itself. So something like about the halfway point of this is probably pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and neaten up that first end. You could also dab a little bit of white glue on that in order to prevent it from fraying if you want. And so now what this will look like is we're going to place the elastic through one of these little slits on the acrylic lens holder, and that will then fold back on itself, and we can slide on one of these tri-glides. We'll place it in, over, and back out, and then bring this up here, and I can adjust the length of this excess later if it's a little tight. And we'll just pull that through, and the friction will hold that in place. Okay, so that's one side of that. And then we'll go ahead and repeat on the other side. Before we feed this side through, we're going to go ahead and place our tri-glide on. Again, in from the back, over, and back out. And now we can go into the acrylic where that little slit is. Pull that back out of there. And feed this through. And this makes it fairly simple to adjust that length as well. And you'll get some flex with the elastic as well. I'll go ahead and pull that there. And let's go ahead and make this a little longer. So we'll just bring it closer and pull like so. Now you're not going to want to wear these over your eyes because you can't see through them. But you can place this pretty effectively on your forehead now to give you a little eyeballs on the top of your head look. And now the last thing we'll do here is connect up some of these accessories just so you see how they work. Now we're not going to connect up this 9-pin connector because we're not breaking it into the two halves right now. But I will show you how to hook up this small speaker as well as the microphone. So for the speaker, you'll see right above the battery connection, this little speaker connector plugs right into here. And it can only go in one way, so if it doesn't seem to be going in, flip it over. And now we can run this across to this other side if we want, or place it somewhere else on the costume. And this has a little adhesive strip that pulls off in order to hook the speaker onto the board, just like so. And now if we're using the microphone, we'll go ahead and plug in this little Stemma QT connector here. And again, this can only go in one way, so don't jam and force it if it doesn't seem to be going in. And then at the bottom of the Monster Mask on one side, we have this little connection here. This will plug right in. And now you can see this is ready to go. It's got battery power, it's got a speaker built on, it has the cool lenses, has the headband, and we also have the microphone, which if we have this on a mask or helmet, we can now kind of dangle this off to the side to use as a voice changer, or you can also extend this with a different type of cable if you need to, depending on your costume or prop that you're building. Okay, one of the key things that everyone wants to see on the Monster Mask, of course, is the eyes. Our own Phil Burgess has been developing all kinds of great eye software over the years on different pieces of hardware, and I really think he's outdone himself with the latest version that's running on the Monster Mask. First of all, I'm going to show you the most basic form. So I've uploaded, by dragging and dropping, the eye software, the most basic eye software UF2 file, which you will find in the guide for AdaBox 13 and the Monster Mask. I'll put that on the board, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And in its most basic form, we're going to get eyeballs with very simple colors instead of texture maps and no lids on them. But if you can see those, they give us a very immediately recognizable eye motion that's just tremendous and really helps sell that effect. This is what happens when we place some beautiful texture maps as well as eyelid maps onto the board. And this is as simple as a drag and drop. I have this plugged into my computer for a moment and drag over some BMP files, the raster graphic files that we use, as well as a little configuration text file. We have these beautiful hazel eyes looking around and blinking with their eyelids. And now you can see that we've taken things up a level of sophistication. And again, that's almost a ready-made costume. Look how much time you just saved yourself by investing in a Monster Mask. AdaBox 13 is jam-packed full of great stuff. Let's do a quick recap of what all came in the box. First of all, there's our Monster Mask. This is the ATSAMD 51 based dual TFT eye board. We have the dual acrylic lenses that you can use right on top of those screens. We have the acrylic lens holder kit, as well as the little nose bridge in case you separate and then decide to rejoin the board. We also have hardware for this, these little screws and nuts. There's the elastic headband set with tri-glides. We also have this 9-pin JST SH connector for when you do want to separate the board into two halves. There's a small speaker that plugs right in. We have the PDM microphone breakout, as well as the Stemma QT connector for that to plug it right into the Monster Mask. We've also got a 420 milliamp hour LiPo battery. And then we have the various decorations. We have the paintable mask as well as the chrome mask. We have our paints and brushes and the glitter glue for decoration. And we also have these little strips of elastic that you can use right on your paintable mask, or you could also thread this through the mounting holes on your Monster Mask in case you want to attach that to something or slip it over, let's say, a skull that you're leaving on your front step to scare the heck out of the trick-or-treaters. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the unboxing section of this AdaBox 13 unboxing event. As you can see, there are some fantastic costuming possibilities and much, much more available using the supplies and the Monster Mask that you have just unboxed. And next, let's go to the live section and we can take a look at some of the projects you'll be able to do with your Monster Mask, as well as some of the learn guides. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park, and this has been the AdaBox 13 unboxing. Monster Mask.